So, yes, apparently George Lucas did feel betrayed. Let's talk about this. What's up, everybody? Today I'm here to talk about a subject that is actually very dear to my heart, and that is Star Wars. But before I get into the subject, I wanted to say if you've been around my channel, you probably have noticed and I haven't been able to upload regularly for the past week and a half. And that is because I think I've mentioned before, I'm in grad school, and this semester I'm on set all the time. I'm in grad school for film, and we're shooting, I'm working on projects, so it's time consuming and a little bit stressful. That is the reason why I haven't been able to upload regularly, but I will try my best to be uploading more often because I do miss talking to you guys. But let's talk about this news over here. So I ran into this news, I think, somewhere on Twitter, and I think it's something that it was on the back of the mind of all the fans. We all kind of knew, but this is the confirmation right here that how of an evil corporation taking over something that is so beloved by so many people. So what happened is, if you're not aware, Bob Iger, which is the big boss of Disney, right? He's behind all the big Disney acquisitions, is launching his own biography book. And one of the things that he mentions on this book, which to me was mind-blowing, that this would come out right before Star Wars Episode 9 in December. You know, I don't know how is this going to affect the fans, because it made me pretty angry. And Bob Iger reviews on his book that George Lucas felt betrayed by Disney's Star Wars plans. Now, if you have been a fan of Star Wars and you have been following the situation of Star Wars, you are probably aware that Disney Star Wars is quite controversial. Despite of you liking The Last Jedi, despite of you liking the direction that Disney took Star Wars, you cannot ignore the fact that there was a huge backlash, that it really divided the fans, that a lot of the fans did not accept the film, and not only that, it kind of really put a stain on the brand. For me, I don't even consider Disney Star Wars canon. I mean, that's how much I detested The Last Jedi, and don't get me wrong, it took me up to The Last Jedi to actually realize that this is a complete mistake. So what happened is, Bob Iger said that when they were in negotiation with George Lucas, right? When George Lucas decided to sell Star Wars, first and foremost, he gave a few reasons why he wanted to do that. One of the things he said is because he was already old, and he wanted to, directing a trilogy like that would take too much. And not only that, like he had other plans and other stuff that he wouldn't be able to do if he took on another franchise. Not only that, I believe a lot of us know that he was probably heartbroken with a lot of the fans and a lot of the backlash from the prequels, but regardless, he still gave Disney directions. He wrote treatments for the how the sequel trilogy should go, and it appears that he believed that Disney was going to follow up on those treatments prior to selling it. And however, we all know that after they had the first meeting with J.J. Abrams, that's what Bob Iger reviews, is that George Lucas felt betrayed because they completely changed the direction. They wanted to go nostalgia. They want to play on the old, and George Lucas always had this idea of Star Wars has to be innovative, it has to bring something new technologies. This is something that we always heard from him. And he did not want the sequel trilogy to be a copy of the originals. So he did felt betrayed, and you could tell that if you go back and watch interviews, George Lucas not being happy after The Force Awakens, and The Force Awakens was a huge success. He made a ton of money. I watched it 5 times, and I gotta say, Disney kind of, they got me, because I enjoyed the film, and I was excited for what they were going to do until we got to The Last Jedi, and that's where I saw, wow, they're really messing this up, especially how they portrayed Luke Skywalker, how they are treating all the original characters. And you know what, there's also conversation that this might have been they had to get rid of all the older characters so they don't have to pay any sort of rights or to merchandise rights to George Lucas, which is kind of like, that's what makes me upset, because everything in this corporation, this shows that, despite how many Disney films I watch and I loved, and how many good things Disney has given us, at the end of the day, it is a corporation that is ruled by a bunch of executive people that don't really care about the fans. What they care is about profit and money, and that's what they are for. And that's why they wanted to do Star Wars the way they did, just like playing on nostalgia, instead of listening to George Lucas. But like, this is a huge betrayal, because this was his baby, if I was already disappointed with the direction of Star Wars, this just is another confirmation that Star Wars is really now being led by the evil empire, with people that do not love George's creations. Kathleen Kennedy, we all know that she had no idea how to run the franchise. She just wanted to turn things around in a way that it just doesn't make sense within the story, and it's just very sad. And I just wanted to say that I'm making this video to say that I stand with George Lucas. Ever since the prequels, I grew up with the prequels, and they're very special to me. I was not a part of the backlash. I know Star Wars through my dad, and I watched the prequels with my dad and the original, and he never really said anything or complained. There was no backlash as far as I knew until I came to America. And here I see that people were really hated the film, and then they really bashed George Lucas. And that was not part of my life, because I grew up with the films and I enjoyed them. I still enjoy them, I think that they're flawed. There's a lot of problems in the films. I don't think that they're perfect films. Of course, the original trilogy is his masterpiece, but I appreciate the storytelling. I appreciate knowing Anakin's journey. I appreciate his vision and, how different it was. I appreciating learning about the Jedi Council, all these cool things that I learned. I still, and the memes we got from the prequels. What do we get from the sequel trilogy? Just bitterness. That's how I feel. I feel bitter. Talking about Star Wars nowadays makes me bitter. I don't want to have a conversation about The Last Jedi. I'm just over that movie. I'm over Rian Johnson and his stupidity, his lack of love for the franchise. And now everything is clear, guys. So indeed, they completely disrespected and betrayed George Lucas. They bought his franchise, and Kathleen Kennedy said the most important thing was to protect these characters. How do they protect these characters? By butchering them, by killing them in horrible ways, by making them stupid, by breaking their complete arc. And it's just, it is pretty heartbreaking. It's very sad. I don't even know. I'm curious to see how are they going to end episode 9. There is rumors that George Lucas is involved, because of course now that there's problems, they have to bring him in. But I'm very curious about is why would Bob Iger bring this now prior to the movie even being out? It's very weird. He could at least have waited, because this is big news, especially if you're a George Lucas fan. Now, I've always think that George is a genius, especially for a filmmaker student like me. We always look for visionaries and people that kind of changed filmmaking, and people that were not afraid to make mistakes, because that's what it took to create Star Wars. He wasn't afraid to be a failure. He wasn't afraid to be innovative and creative or bring new ideas, and that's how he was able to create such an incredible world. But unfortunately, now this world is on the hands of Disney, and it's really hard to have any sort of expectations that they'll be able to tell a good story. I'm expecting that we're going to see a ghost Luke Skywalker again, and now everything is just becoming so clear. The way that Mark Hamill has been openly so vocal about the way Disney has been handling the franchise, and of course, because he already knew about all of this, he already knew it was not George's ideas, you know. Regardless if people were going to like what George did or not, it was going to be something new, it was going to be something innovative, and it was going to teach us more about the Force and the universe, and that's what I'm in for Star Wars for. You know, I want to go there to see lightsaber fights. I want to see more about the mythology. I don't need to go and watch a fake rehash of what was already done pretty well, you know, like they're never gonna recreate the magic of the originals. They're never gonna do that. But anyways, guys, yes, this is kind of upsetting news, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below. What do you think about this whole situation of George Lucas feeling betrayed by Disney? I think we all knew already, but now there is the open confirmation. Pretty sad. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.